Like I said, my name is Babatunde. We are continuing our introduction to SQL, and this is the third session. So if you are joining us for the first time, you are welcome. And if you are existing, I won't call you a student or so, but then welcome you all. So today we starting from where we left off last Saturday, which was the second session. So and I want to recap on what we learned last Saturday. So if you remember vividly, we spoke about how we can use our SQL, and I remember that I did some connection, when it comes to the using SQL to connect to the database that we have created, we have installed on our PC. So the basic, and we spoke about how we can use that basic statement, which is the ISO standard, meaning the use of command select and the column and from a table. So this is the standard from the ISO, which is the ISO standard. So for a structure, language for the database. So we spoke about so many things, so many functions. We spoke about so many enhancements. We spoke about how we can use our SQL to select certain, information from the database, and how we can actually select them. How we can actually use our where clause appropriately. How we can actually use our comparison condition, and how we can use our logic condition as well. We spoke about how we can use our how we can pass not in, how we can pass it our in, how we can use our equals to, how we can use our greater than and equals to, or less than and equals to, how we can use so many things, and how we can use our how we can order our resource sets. So we can actually order our resource set by using the ascending or descending. We also spoke about that. Okay, so we are jumping into the third session. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen quickly. Okay, please hold. Yeah. Yeah. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So today, like I said, today is our third session. So we're going to learn a lot of things about, in terms of, using our select statements to actually, most of the time, I always say this, to beautify, our writing skill. And again, remember, I always say something that, when it comes to writing SQL, please remember to bring your logic into it. We all did, we have actually gone through mathematics in school. We all, we know how to apply our board mass, when we do things. So when you write SQL, there are formats, and there are ways of there's a way that we can actually write them appropriately, and the way we pass our condition into the SQL. So again, I remember somebody was asking me in the last meeting, we had a meeting, and someone was asking me, said, why is Oracle, why do I choose Oracle? And I actually answered to say, apart from remember, our first session was, we spoke about all the vendors of databases, like, IBM, IBM DB2, Oracle, Oracle Corporation. We spoke about Microsoft Server. But why is organization, using Oracle, like banks, like telecoms, like a lot of organizations, the government. Why are they adopting Oracle? It's because one, Oracle is more stable, and the security as per the Oracle is very, 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 very tight. So you cannot break into Oracle database easily. So, and that a lot of organizations are very security conscious, because remember, when you don't, when you have things, and when you have when you will deal with banks, you deal with a lot of money. We do about social, the numbers. I mean, people's information. So security need to be tight, and in that sense, Oracle provide that, and a lot of things. And when it comes to government, if you look at it, a lot of government, I don't know if because Nigeria we don't keep a lot of information, but when it comes to foreign companies, country, they keep a lot of information. So let's say for Home Affairs, maybe Home Office in UK. So you have information that are vital information, sensitive information that can actually be kept in the database. So the organization and country, they opt for it because why? It is more secure. You cannot break into it. I remember I did something about database hacking. Hacking, a lot of hackers, they can actually run their query against any database. But when it comes to Oracle, Oracle is very tight, and Oracle is more robust. It's the availability is so high, and performance is also great. So that is why a lot of organizations and the government actually adopted the use of Oracle. So then we go into our today's class. So if you look at it, just to remind you that this is the way, like I said, this is the way to write your SQL. So the first statement is your select. This is the column. This column that you see is the column that from the table. I know we still remember our table very well. That table is a place where we keep our data inside the database. So what we do is, okay, you see this. This is a single row function. We spoke about it. Remember when you pass an information. Remember when you write. Let's say for instance we write a code to say add two numbers. You write a function add two numbers, 1 plus 2, and it's 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So function is we call it, I don't want to say API, but it's a program that had been, it is inbuilt in Oracle to actually do, it does a lot of things. You pass information into it, you pass parameter, variable into it, and it gives you, it gives you a result, and it gives you a result, one result set. So we say, and I've actually discussed this in the last meeting, the last session, to say a single row function, what does it do? We use it to manipulate, you can use it to manipulate data in the table. You can use it to, it's accept arguments. The arguments are the parameter. What are the parameter? Is because, let's say for instance, we have a function. What does it do? Maybe the function is called sum, which is sum. So it's sum numbers together. So you accept the parameter. You put in parameter to say one, or I want you to add 1 million plus one, from 200 for me, and give me the result. So a function accept argument. So the arguments, what you put in, your input is called the argument, and we also call it parameter. So it returns a value. If you develop a function on Oracle, it's always going to return you a value set for you, not having a multiple one. So it returns one result per row, and the accept argument, which can be a column or an expression. So we will all see this. This might not make sense to you now, at this stage, but we shall begin to see them by the time we begin to apply them. So for cases, for character, we, like I said, we have numbers. The way we keep our numbers in the table, we have a character. The way we keep our character. If we create, let's say for instance, we create a table called employee. Okay, employee, where we are expected to have information of the employee in the organization. So probably you have the the first name, you have this the last name, you have is maybe the identity number, you have what's it called, the date of birth, and you have other information as well. So you define those entity, like maybe the first name. You might say, okay, this is voucher 250 length, because you need to define what you really want and how the table should capture it for you. So I want you to create for me in your table. I want this table to be employee name. So how do you want this? I mean, what your entity or what column do you want to capture? I want to capture first name. I want to capture last name. I want to capture date of birth. I want to capture identity number. So then you need to define them. So this is how to manipulate all those characters from the database. So you see the lower, the upper, the int cap, the concat, the sub, the length, you shall see them, So the case manipulating function. So when we talk about the character, okay, we talk about string. So let's say, for instance, we want to, there are things we want to test. We saw a name in a column. So there's a way we can output it. There's a way we can select it. There's a way we can instruct SQL to display the name for us. So these are just a way to go about having to apply different logic into the way you manipulate your character or your string. Okay, if you look at it, we discussed, if we go back to the first thing I said, the lower one, if you look at it, if you pass a string, if you see, this is a function. The lower is a function. They develop it as a function, to say that there's a code that has been written inside this code, inside this lower. So what it does is it converts the string that you put in, and it give it to you in a lower form. I mean, in a lower string or lower cases. So if you use upper, if you pass it, you say now, say SQL course. You can see SQL. You can see it's in the capital, and the course is the first one is in capital, and the remaining letter is in lower cases. So if you look at it and you instruct, you say, okay, select this from the door. I said this is the dummy table, being used, for 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 any query that doesn't have a table, Oracle. So for this kind of function. So now, if you pass it, you can see now that the output is you're instructing, you're giving instruction. So can you please convert this string for me and convert it to all capital, all small letters? Can you see now? You have this. So the result is below. It's making it lower cases. So if you use upper, so the second one is upper. If you say select upper and you pass the string, so from Joa, so it will give you see, it's giving us, in this manner. Remember that when people capture information into the database, we have data capturer. Some people might capture Babatunde as capital B, small letter A, B, small letter B. There are other data capturer can use a small b and capture into the database. Some, they might even be sleeping, because I've seen that before. They use capital letter B, they use small letter b, and in between, I've seen that, okay, small letter B, small letter A, and capital letter B and small letter b, and the rest is lowercase. I've seen that before. So there's a way that a lot of people could write things, but maybe from the organization, you are given a task that, can you please give us a report about the names? So, and again, in order for you to make sure that you display the information correctly or rightly or something, you can actually use this. And this is why you need to know all this. It is just to verify, our skill, what we do. Sometimes you see invoices. Sometimes you see invoices, and you're kind of wondering, how do they achieve it? It's all this knowledge they put together, and that is how they achieve that. So you can actually use those functions. These are the function. If you see the lower, you can write it. You see, I put lower in upper letter. You can also write it in a lower case. You can say lower and pass the string, and it'll still do the same job. It's going to do, you know. So you can, for all of them, you can write it in a small letter and pass it. But then what you pass in the quote that matters. And you know, the instruction, the lower will give instruction to what you have in the string. And this is what you are saying. I think I've sent all the script, because if you want to try this, I've sent the script. You know, I copied the strings somewhere. I think I've done that here. Introduction to section. Yes, these are the strings for all these slides. So I've actually sent this. So you can actually do this and practice on your own and use it to test you know, a few things. So this is it. And we can, okay, I'm now going to show you how to use it when it comes to table, when you will fetch it a data from a table. Remember, we are using if we let me take you back to the SQL screen. Okay.
Sorry, sir. They can access the link for this material through the chat room. I've pasted the link for you to download the script for today's lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I hope I'm not moving too fast. Can you please check if we are on the same page? Dr. Okay, can you please check if they say yes for me? Okay. If you remember last time, we spoke about SQL Plus. So this SQL Plus, I have actually created a shortcut on my desktop. So you see, I'm connected through the HR. Like I said, I'm connected to the HR. The table that we're using is employee. It's called employee. So I passed the password. So when it connected, it said connected to. So it's giving me the description of what is actually connected to, which is Oracle 11J Express Edition release 11.2. So with this bit, meaning 64 bits, which is on my Windows. Okay, if you install 32, it's going to tell you 32 on production. Okay, so the first thing the first thing I've done is, you know, is to set the line size. I remember I was telling you that you know, if you do not set the line size, it's just going to wrap it, and it's not going to be, you know, nice for you to look at. So you need to set it so that it can display all in a line for you. So secondly, this page size is by default, you know, this row, this record that you see from 100 to maybe to 109, it will display them and it will break it and put a subtitle again. I mean, put the heading again. And if you do not want that to happen, you can say, can you please, I want my page to have at least I want it to have at least 150 record. You see, so you need to do this so that we can see. And if I count the number of record in this table, I think we have 107. So at least with 155, we should have all the record in one page. So moving forward, you can see these are all the information that we have in this table. Okay, employee number 1 is his name is is having employee ID, which is 100. Okay, his name is Steven. His last name is King. So his email is sking. So this is the number. This is cell phone number. This is hired. This is when it was hired into the company, to the organization, on when he joined the organization. This is the job type. I mean, the job ID, the kind of job he does. So this is his salaries. Does he have commission? No, he doesn't have commission. So maybe if you work in a sales department, perhaps you might have a commission. So the commission will be, you know, will be there. So yes, does he have a manager? No, he doesn't have a manager. You can see it's no. It's empty. So he doesn't have a manager. So which department ID. So it's in the department 90. So these are the things, these are the way you analyze. And I said something, I said, when you see a table, you should imagine your spreadsheet, your Excel. So you see how we put things in our Excel. That is the way we put things. That's the way it gets into the data, into the table of the database. So now going forward, this is the okay. Now if you look at it, I want you guys to connect to your SQL prompt. Let me just wait for 1 minute for you guys to connect. And if you have connected, can you please say yes, yes, yes for me? Thank you. Okay. So if you look at it, okay, I want us to pay attention to this. This is very, very important. And a lot of people do not know this. The English is so confusing, and I want to share something with you today. And I just want you to tap into the logic. So look at it. This person, this is the employee, and I'm going to look for the record of this employee. Let me look for the record of this employee. Is on ID 205. Okay, and I want us to pay attention to this. 205. 205, quickly. 205. Yes, correct. This is the employee that we're talking about. Okay, it's fine. So now you have a condition. You can see. I think we can all see it. This is it. If you look at it, you see the way they enter. You see the way the record is created. This is the first name. This is the last name. You can see this is the email ID, and you can see the H. The H is capital letter. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something, and this is why this function is quite important. Go back. Okay. Imagine you are given a task to say, okay, can you please get me the name of this person from the, can you please get me, maybe there's an audit, maybe the auditor requested for this. I said, can you please give me any name or this particular person? You see, if you pass this information, if you see the first query, if you pass this information like this, you can see anything of version 2, they are sensitive, they are case sensitive. You need to pass them the way they are written down. I mean, the way they are, exactly the way they are in the database. So if you look at it, he said, give me this. And if you look at it, it passes, is using small letter H, I, G. And you can see, what does it say? It says no row selected. It's saying, I do not know this person. I don't know this person. Okay, that's one. I just want you to see that. Okay, and remember, we have this person, but the only thing that is different is because the first letter is H in the database, whereas this person is passing it as H, as small letter H. Please pay attention to this. And I want you to try as many examples as possible. Practice, check. So this is where this function comes to play. So if you pass the lower, if we say, I want this person, I want this information of this person, okay? And if you say lower, if we pass the name lower, I said, okay, lower last name, because his last name, this name is this last name. Lower is last name. But what you pass in, if you use lower, make sure that what you pass in your quote, it has to be a lowercase. Okay, please, I'm going to repeat this. If you put a lower, this lower is a function, meaning I'm ready to take an argument of last name. So that last name in the quote, you have to put it as the small letter or small letters. If you put upper letter H into this, it will still come back and say no rows selected for you. And I want you to try that. I'll put that in the exercise, which I will publish later. So if you say lower, what you pass in the string must be lowercase. So when you do that, you are instructing, you are saying to the instruction that you are giving to the database is, Joe, I want the name of the employee. Joe, I'm writing it as I'm writing it as a small letter, or the name is actually written in a small letter. I'm giving you that, okay, this name is written in a small letter, but can you look for this information of this person for me? It's going to fetch it for you because you have instructed, you said, I'm using a small letter. So fetch it for me. Anywhere you see this person, this name, go and fetch it for me, regardless, you see. So it's going to fetch it for you. Please, if we use upper letter, you see the third one, the third one, I said, if we use upper letter, what you pass in the string has to be upper letter. So when you do that, it's going to fetch it for you. So otherwise, if you know it, if it's okay, let me pass it the way it is written. You can see the last one. The last one, it says, I'm passing it the way it is. Then it's going to, you see, it's returning it for me. But let me tell you, you have a table of a billion record. Okay. This is where this logic has actually come to play. You have a table of a billion record, because I've seen it before. Table of billion records. And they ask you for this kind of information. You don't even know how it's been written. You don't know how it is written. I mean, you don't know how it is in the database. And there are so many of them. Okay, let's say, for instance, there are so many of them. So maybe some were created as all small letters. Some are created in, the first letter to be upper letter, and the remaining letters were upper cases. Okay. In some instance, some of them were created all upper cases. You see now, but they are the same name. It's just like Babatunde is written in a different way, in different way. Maybe the first letter is upper letter and the remaining one is lower cases. Or maybe it is all upper cases or true, or maybe it is all lower cases upper true, in different scenario. But it is still the same Babatunde. Anyone will still read and say, this is Babatunde. Whether it is capital letter B, small letter B, capital letter B, small letter B, T, small letter T, U, N, D, E. So you will still read it and say, this is Babatunde, or this is John. So, but then the information says, I just want you to check for me. I want all the name Babatunde. I want them to be published for me. I want to see how many Babatunde that do we have in this record. So this is the way you can use your SQL to display all the Babatunde for you. But you need to know how to use this. I don't know if you understand this. Can you please say yes for me? There's a lot of people who do not know how to use this. And this is why I'm paying attention to this. Please try as much as possible. People only read. They only know how to say, okay, maybe I can pass this. But they do not know. They do not know the logic. They are just using trial by error. So, and this is why I'm giving you straight, because I've used it so many times and it's actually working for me. And this is why I'm telling you, this is the logic. You can read as many books, you can read 100 books. If you do not, some of the writers, they do not know how to explain this. They are only using it without even them knowing it. Please pay attention to it. So when you pass it, the way the data is written or is kept in the database, you might not know. A lot of people have seen it in the database. I saw something the other time. I don't know, maybe it is a name that this person says, okay, they said, what is the name of your school? The name of the school, the information. It's supposed to capture, University of Lagos. It's what's it called? Primary school, maybe George Primary School, or maybe it's George High School. This person, they wrote, I don't know the name of my school. That is the information that they put in there. I said, what? So I was making, so people can write people can put in a lot of information in the database. So fine, if you are given a task to say, can you please give me the name or the name, the name of the so person. I mean, so you don't need to give instruction to say, okay, I want to write it the way it is. Because if, for instance, do the last query, if you use this, it is only going to fetch you those employee with with that name starting from the H, but what of all this other employee that is they are having the same name, but they don't have the same string or the cases. So you will see them coming out from your resource set. So in order to accommodate all of them, this is how to use this to manipulate your result. Can I move? Mr. Dr. Okay, can you please help me check? Hello,
Please,
Dr. Okay, are you there?
Yes, it's open.
Are you?
Recap
So
a little bit.
can I move?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay. So if you look at it, okay, from this page, I did something. If you look at it, I said describe the employee. I said describe the table, meaning I want to see what is the architect, how do they I mean, how do they, how is this table created? What are the things? If you look at it, I said describe this table for me. I want to see what are the information that will be captured. How is maybe the columns? How do they, And you see employee ID. They said not no, and it is number. So that number must be numbers. It should be the length 6, and it must not be empty. You see, the first name is supposed to be Vasha 20. It can be this long, and you see the last name. It says it cannot be empty and Vasha 25. That is 25 length. So these are the things. This is how they created this table. So it makes me to see that, okay, yes, this is Vasha 2. So Vasha 2 is case sensitive. So you need to pass them in a code. And if you are instructing the SQL, the Oracle engine to fetch it for you, you need to use the appropriate function in order to get the appropriate result. So I will move. So part of the character manipulation function. So, and I want you to try as much as as possible. Try so many, go through. You can check on the online. You can see many scenario things. So one of them is concat. Concat means concatenation. It means joining strings together. You see, you are joining two things together. You see, and when you look at it, some people will say concatenate. You see, they said the function allow to concatenate or combine. So I prefer to use combine for people to understand. I do not want to say a bulldozer bulldoze. So I want to say it combines two things together. You have two string, you have hello, you have word. So I'm saying, can you please put them together for me? So it concatenates. So sometimes you do have to have a report. They give you a task to write a report. So how do you do to say, okay, I want this thing together. I just want it to display together. So how do you use it? So these are the functions that you can actually apply to join them together. So you say concat, you say hello world concatenation. The result is this. So we're still going to see that. So if we look substring, what does it do? It allow you to extract a substring from a string. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate it, and I'm going to show you. You see, but this is a function. It's a function as well. Okay, just like we have our lower as a function, we have the upper as a function. Substring is also a function that you can actually use. So what does it do? You pass a string. So you see the string, the first string that you pass is hello world. So if you look at it, it says the next the next one, which is this non one, that is the starting point for you. Because you have those letters, So where do you start from? Do you start from front or do you start from the back? So it says one, meaning one means you start, and when it is positive, you mean you start from the left, which is from the front, moving towards the back. So it says from one, please, and count the length. You see, that is the length. You start with the position is 1 to the length, which is 5. Meaning, please go to the first go to the first letter. Okay, from the first letter, now count 5 for me. I'm going to repeat. When you see this, it's to say, go to the first letter. Okay, the first letter. If it is 2, it means go to the 2, go to the second letter. If, let's say, for instance, you have 2 here, go to the second, it will say, go to the second letter and count 5. You see, count 5. So you will have to say, if let's say we have 2, if it is 2, it's going to say ELLOW. That will be your result set, which is your output. So now, in this case, it's going to start from the first one and count. Remember I said when it is positive, stand from, just like when you see our coordinate, our mathematical coordinate, you see our SY. So you see your positive, you see your negative. So these are the negative. So these are the positive. You see, when it is positive, you start from counting from the left, you move towards the right. You count back, so you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is LO. So it will display LO for you. So if you look at it, these are the way to beautify or to manipulate your character. So again, if you see 0, 0 is actually treated as 1, as 1. Okay, look at it. If the start position is what you have in the middle. If it is 0, then the substring treat the start position as 1. Okay, so if let's say you have positive, it starts from the beginning. Yes, you see, which is from the left to the beginning. So if it is negative, you start from the back, because at times this hello word, substring hello word might be, let's say, -1, okay, comma 5. And what does that tells you? Is you're instructing the SQL, you're instructing the engine to say, okay, start from the back, So you're going to start from the D. If it is -1, it will say D, and it will start, or maybe it is going to say -5. -5, you count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it will count. Then you count back again. Then you count back again, and again, to pay attention when you write. Let's say, for instance, when we quote it, pay attention to space as well. So when let's say, for instance, we pass substring and we say hello, we put a space, and you say word, and you quote, and you say comma 1, comma 5. When you do that, you see that space in between is assumed, it is being read by Oracle engine as a character, so it will count it. So for instance, it will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the W will be 7. So you need to pay attention to all this. So when it exists between the number, so it is counted. So you need to pay attention to. So it's part of what I've actually put in the practice that we have to go through. So when you see the length as a letter, the length as a function, when you pass it, I said, okay, when you pass it a string, I said, can you give me the length of this? What it does is it counts the string that you have. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see, it's counting. So remember, I said, if let's say you have space in between, let's say you say, hello space word, it's going to return 11 for you. You can all try that and you see. So this one, what does it do? So I put all the consequences here. I've put every information that you needed. Everything is there. So you can actually go through it and see. So I just want to be, like I said, I'm going to make this session more practical than, I don't want to make it like a literature, So this one, what does it say? It says searching for a particular, string in a letter or in a set of string. So you are telling you say, can you please look, what is the position that this W is occupying in this string? What is the position? If you look at it, it will say 1, 2, 3. You start from here and you check. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that is why you see 6 here. You see, so there's a way that you can actually use it, and we use it. I've seen this when it comes to report development and others, and when it comes to data warehousing, when you see a proper business intelligent development, you see all these things, the use of all this, so, and this is why we need to know it. So again, when you see lpad, put something before, so it depends what you need to put. If you put ss, if you put yy, if you put gg, if you put anything that you put in this code, it will start it from there. So this is why you see that some when they display some reports, they put like, maybe they put a signal, a sign symbol like dollar, when dollar, maybe currency and all that. So they pad it. You can pad from the left. You see it's from the right, left. From the left, you count, and what do you do? The first thing is the output has to be counted first. Then you know that okay, how many pad do I need to put? Let's say if this number is just 1, so it's going to pad it, and you are saying the length of what? 10. You only want the length of 10, and the number is just 1. So you're going to see asterisk in 9 places before the 1. Asterisk in 9 places and 1. You see, so this length you have to pay attention to. So we will see it from the SQL. So this is right part. So you saying that anything that you see in this, in this code, it has to start from the right. And please conform this to 10 length, to this length. So you need to pay attention to this. So hope we understand that. So this is the way we write it, because we're passing the screen, and I want us to try that when we have time. So you see now, I said select conc. You see, I pass this, which is hello, and this word. So you pass those two words, and you say, from Dua. So the result is hello word. You are saying, can you please combine? Can you please join? Let me use a simple English. Join them together. Don't use join them. Put them together. Put them together. Join them. Put them together. Join them. You see. So it's doing that. So now when you look at the substring, you are saying this is hello word. Start counting from 1, and which is positive. Like I said, look at it. It's because it's positive. It's starting from the 1. If it is negative, let's say -1, it's going to start from the D. It's from the back. So you do that. So then you have to count. You have to count from the first one, then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we should also try as many examples as possible, so that we get used to how to use them. So we make ourselves more comfortable with it. So the length, if you pass anything, it is going to give you, it's going to count. Just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and count it. If it is more, it will count it. And if there's a space in between, it will count that space as a character. It's going to count it and say it's 11. So don't be surprised if you say hello world and there's a space and you say word, and you're going to say, oh, why is it 11? It's counting it as a space. So you need to pay attention to it. So this hello word, this one, you say, can you please look for W? What is the position of the W? So in a simple English, when you see it, you just say, okay, what is the position? Can you please tell me the position of this? So it's to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where you see this, you can just mark it and circle it. put a circle, then you count. Then you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'll see that, okay, it is on number 6. So this is how to use.
Sorry, sir. Why are we putting Dua from Dua in
Yes,
that?
this Dua is just like a dummy table to run some of the things that are not in the table. Remember now, we are not calling this from, we're supposed to be calling to say from employee table. You see, but we are not calling this information from table. So Dua is something that you can use to maybe to do a test, to run, a normal things. It's also created by Oracle to do things like this. If you are not getting things from the table, you use Dua. It is part of my session last week to say this is the Dua table is actually created so that to run this function. Okay, you can also check as well. You can go and check as well. So it is Dua you pass into your function into, and you're getting it. We're still going to use this we're going to use it on our what's it called, our employee table. So I'll show you how to use that. You're going to see how it's been used. So, but for the purpose you look at it, we are not getting all this information because this will make you practice as much as possible. You can pass anything into this. You can say concatenate Babatunde, and maybe the surname is Awukoya. Babatunde is called Awukoya. So it can pull it for you together. I mean, it can put them together for you. Remember, you don't have them in the table. We are not using the employee table. So when you don't use the table and you want to do something, you can use dummy. It's called dummy. It's a dummy table. So now remember we were speaking about so remember we're talking about this that so you see now we're going to that table again. So we're going into we go into this table, employee table. I just want you to see how it works. So if you look at it, for this employee, for employee, for salary, that is this person that is earning to 24,000, and you said you should count. And if you look at it, the length of 24,000 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is telling the engine that make the length on 10. You see, so you still need additional 5. So the additional 5 that you need to pad, where does it start from? You need to pay attention to that. So it says, please start from the left. Okay. So if I'm starting from the left, so what do I put? So this is what you see in that your screen. So you put them. Okay. Now the length you have is 5. So you see the additional 5. So then you put SSS. So if depending on what you do, if it is PPP, you put, if it is GGG, if it's WW, it is SSS, it's going to pass it for you. It's going to put anything that you put in the code will be in front, or will be from the back, or from the front. So left you need to consider, and the R, it is the same, just maybe from left to right and right to left, you see. So please pay attention to things. The attention that you pay is, you need to pay attention to this first. It is R. Is either R or L. You need to know. So it is R that will determine. It is the first letter. Those things that will determine where they're starting from. So again, you need to pay attention to the length. So how many lengths do you want to have in total? So again, how do you want to pad it? So one must be put in front, or one must put at the back. So you need to pay attention to that. So this is how to go about it. So you can try so many things. You can like I said, this is a function. They are all function as well. So again, if you look at this, we're coming back to our employee table. So using the character manipulation function, you see, we're selecting the employee ID, job ID, first name, last name. Then you say concat, first name and the last name. Sorry. So we put this as alias. I think okay, we're still going to discuss about it. So meaning it should, when you do this, just put the title to be name. Okay, when you concatenate, when you join these two together, put it as a name. The length, you say, what is the length of the last name? You see, um, maybe I'm George, my surname is George. Somebody else surname might be Bush. Somebody else's name might be maybe Oshibajo. You see, so it is, you pass it, it will show the length of the length, the count of the length of each employee that you pass it into this code. Okay, so now you are saying, you see how we use them. This is how we use them. Remember, we were selecting from the DUA before. So how do we use this? How do we display this? How do we use them? So you look at it, when you go, you said, okay, I'm selecting from this table. Okay, so sub-screen job ID. Okay, remember when you say sub-screen, when you don't see, remember when I said, when you don't see, when it is this 0, it's assuming to be 0. So it counts at 4. We're going to go back there. Okay, you're going to, okay, I've selected it so that you can see it. I selected it here so that you guys can see. Okay, so if you look at it, this is my SQL plus. So I've actually done that because of the for the purpose of this session. So if you look at it, you count. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's taking anything from that 4, 1, 2, which is the rep. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. From the position of 4, it's taking them. So I'm saying, so these are the way. Okay, you can. There's many ways of writing this. You can write and say, I want where job ID in. You can pass all this, in quotes, mk underscore rep, comma, in, all of those. But if you know the pattern, if you get to know the pattern of the job ID, and you know that maybe the job ID, the pattern is always, maybe if you look at it, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe for that job, you look at it, it's almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 6 or 7. So, and you see that they conform, the pattern, they conform to the same length. Then you can actually come up with a logic to say, okay, how do I get this one to rep? So, and they are saying to you that, okay, I want those one with rep. So I want their information. So these are the way, okay, you are passing, and you said, okay, apart from that, an employee ID, that is this, that is this, that is this. You see, so the first one, it says this is the first name, this is the last name. You see the concatenation. You see how it works. It's putting part and fair. You see, it put them together. You see from here. So you see them now. It's putting this together without a space. You see. So now you are instructing, you said, can you please count the length of what they call their surname for me? And if you look at it, the part has got this, okay, the surname for this one is 3, 1, 2, 3. So you see the mavericks, you can see the surname, the surname is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see the length is 6. So for this, the last one, you see the length is 4, and which is this. So these are the way to use this function. So we move forward. We move further to number function. Like I said, mathematics. This is a pure mathematics, and I keep telling people this is a pure mathematics. Round your, maybe mode or something, or truncate or something. When you see some calculator as well, So I still remember when I did numeric analysis at that time. So you have to play around with digit numbers, into so many ways. So you see now, these are the round function, specifically for numbers. round function, number, trunk, you see, mode, you see. So now you are saying, if you look at it, they say round values to specified decimal. Okay, you're saying you put this number, say 45, comma 45, for 45, 45.926, comma 2. Okay, in two decimal places. So it's saying, you see, it will do this for you, 45, and this is actually approximated. You see, when you just round, in some cases when we have a product, most of the product organization where they do where they sell, let's say ShopRite, okay, you have ShopRite, you have Woolworth, so they do there are calculations, they see most of the cases where you see abroad, they write maybe 22.999. So they won't say it is 23. They always like I'm sometimes I wonder, I said, why don't you say something is 23? Why are you saying 22.999? So so they put 22.999, 25.999, 25, so when you see this, so sometimes when they divide it, they have markup. So when they do most of this calculation, you see them, they come up with the result is always like this funny, 45 dot 292 something. So, but how do you put them together? So in terms of maybe dollar and cent or something, or naira and kobo. So this is the way it is actually done. So you can round them up. You say, okay, I just want to say in two decimal places. You just say me, okay, this is 45 naira, 45 naira 93 kobo. So these are the things. So when you say trunk is a function as well. How do you want it? I want you to say truncate value to specify decimal to two decimal. So how does that work? So you see now. So it doesn't have possibilities to you see the difference. And this is why you need to pay attention to this. Because in some calculation, they might give you a calculation to say, this is how I want it to be. You're calculating something, a product from the invoice, and they want it, and or maybe invoice, and they want it, this is the way they want it. So you can see that the difference between this, it is it's actually great. A lot of people might say maybe one is 0.1 is nothing, but it's a lot. Okay, so depending the way the organization actually want it, how do they want it, my friend? So these are the part of the things that the developer, they sit down to brainstorm to say, okay, how do you want this? Can you manage to do away with this? No, I want it. I want that 0.01. You see, so you can see this organization that is having this round 45.93 and 45.92. This one will make more. You see, so depending on how, or some of them will say, no, it's fine. Don't worry. I can assume that it's part of what's it called. So these are the way you need to know how to use all this. But when it comes to the mode, the third one, which is mode, is a return the remainder of the division. Like I said, when you look at it, divide 1,500 by 300. If you look at it, you get 1,000. Let's go into mathematics now. It's 1,500. 1,500 divided by what's it called? By 3. You get 5. You see? So if you look at it, 1,500 minus, I mean, 1,600 minus 1,500, you get the remainder of 100. So in some calculations as well, you might be confronted with this kind of challenge in future. So you need to know how to use all these functions. So please go and learn more about all these functions. Please know how to use them. Please make yourself comfortable using them. Try them in so many ways and see how they are applicable. So, and you see this round, okay, I just put them together here to say, okay, I just want you to say on the straight line. So you say, you run this one. You see, I'm using round, you see now, all true. You can also use in the practice that I've actually developed, that I'm going to send after this lecture. So you can actually use trunk. and put trunk in all this, or you can actually use, you can actually use any of these, function. So round, you can see to two decimal, you're going to get this. Round, when this is 0, you see, it is 45, I mean 46. You see, when it is round and you put 0. Some organizations, they don't even want to. I know in Nigeria, for instance, Nigeria will say, the Nigerians are not used, we are not used to saying 45.99. In Nigeria, we say 45, it's 46. You see, so but in some cases you see all these funny decimal and say why $1 90 something, I mean something. So you'll be wondering. So you see the difference is how you apply them, and you can see minus. You see minus 50. It might be -1. So please try as much as possible. This is how they use most of these functions, and they've actually created this function for our usage. So please, let's try as much as possible to learn more. Okay, so then we'll move to I let me slow it down a bit, and I want to get from the audience if they actually um if they if we are on the same page. Can you please say yes for me? Yes for me. Dr. Okay, can you please check from the audience if
Yes.
yes? Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Thank you so much. Okay, so we will go back. We will now go into this. This one is called distinct, and I'm just going to make. And do not forget. Do not forget this. You see, you have in a basket. Okay, before we go into this, you have in a basket. You have 6 blue ball. Okay, 6 blue ball. You have four red ball. Okay, 6 blue ball, 4 red ball, and then there's a question that said, "Can you give me distinct ball?" You see, what you do is you only select one, I mean, one blue and one red. You see now, please, please learn this logic. Distinct is giving me something that is distinct. The distinct, you're only going to select. Remember now, you have 6 ball in the basket and you have 4 red in the basket, making a total of 10. But when you say distinct, you are instructing the oracle to say, just give me how many, you just give me the color that you have, meaning red and green. I mean, red and blue. That is it. These things will give you, sorry, okay, excuse me. Okay. So red, what then this one does is showing you, okay, okay. So what is showing you, don't worry, I'll correct that. So what is showing you is okay, let me go up. Okay, so what is showing you is distinct. The statement retrieve distinct value from a table. Select a unique job ID from the employee. You see, select distinct. It's telling you are instructing to say, let's say for instance, we do not know how many faculty. Fine, we know. Okay, we do not know how many faculty we have in the university. So select the distinct faculty. You see, so it's going to put faculty of science, faculty of this, faculty of this. So it's going to put it for you. So this is how distinct will tell you that, okay, we have so much. These are the list of all the things that we have. If you look at it, these are the distinct, meaning you have this AC account, and these are the table. If you look at it, I was saying something. I don't know. Maybe if you pay attention to this screen, I want you guys to pay attention to this. You see what I said when I said page page size, that you need to set your page size. Because in this case, I do not set say page size. And that is why you see job ID in the, you can see now 19 rows. So it breaks, it breaks it, into, when it gets to 10, it jump into, it creates, so this is, but if I've said set a page size of 20, you will see there won't be job ID again. It's just going to be one heading. You see, this is why you need to get used to this information. So you see now it says select distinct job. These are the distinct job from this table. Sorry, from this table, yes, from this employee table. I don't know why this is so okay. You see now, I'm selecting. So you see now, a lot of employee falls in the categories of this job ID. Some work as a programmer, some work as a finance manager, accountant, some work as a clerk, some work as So what I'm saying, we do not know. Let's say, for instance, for a decision making, you see, we do not know how many jobs that we do have. Can you give me the list of how many job ID, or how many jobs, this, a job type that we do have? So these are the way that you can actually use your SQL appropriately. So it's selecting all of it for you. So you can also try that from, maybe gender. Let's say, for instance, we have in the SQL table, I mean in the employee table, to say all the rows, every record. Okay, maybe this is John Bush, employee that ID is 2, and then maybe gender is male, and this is Elizabeth Port. What's it called? The gender is female. Now you are saying, okay, give me the distinct. You say, give me, let's say, select distinct gender. Then it's going to come up to say it's male. The result is going to be male and female, male, female. You see, so it's not going to be repeated to say this. It's just going to tell you male, female. So this is the way to use distinct. So distinct with the multiple row. What happens to there? So you see now, it says select if the combination of this manager and the job ID is unique. You see, so this is how you select this as, okay, just to select for me, if this job ID and this one for, it's actually unique. So this is the way you can use as many. You can even use as, maybe three columns, 4 columns. So try as much as, okay, you can see from the length that I said 100. I mean, page size to be 100 or page size to be 150. So you can see there's no break. You can see. So these are the way you can actually use them. So distinct, you look at the manager, it's okay, then it will say, okay, this manager ID, okay, and it is combining. You see, it's distincting them to say, okay, manager, okay, what is the job? This job, okay, this job, okay, it's putting them, so putting them together. And you can see this one doesn't have manager. If you remember, it doesn't have manager. I think that's its king. It doesn't have manager. So it's you. This is the way you see. This is the way it actually displayed for you. Let me go. So now I've done something again to order by. Remember, we learned order in our second section to say, how do you order, how do your resource set? Sometimes when you write SQL statement, your output result or your result might just come in a different, I mean, it doesn't arrange them for you. But you want to see that is okay. I want to see alignment. I want to see a proper arrangement. I don't want to see 2 here, 2 at the top. I see I see I see 100 at the top. I see 2 in the middle. I see 8 at the end. So I want them to be arranged properly. You see but how do you want to arrange them? So after this distinct, the first thing it will do is it will first take care of the distinct, then it will come back again to say, okay, yes, I have the result set, but you do not see that it does that. The engine does that. So it does that to arrange them in order that you want. Okay, I want you to order it for me, based on the manager. You can say, okay, in this department, there's this manager, there's this job called this. So there are other jobs. I mean, there are a lot of employee can fall into this category. A lot of employee can fall into this category as well. A lot of employee can fall into this category. So it's listing them to say, okay, for this type of job, the manager is this. For this type of job, the manager is this. For this type of job, the manager is this. So you can see now, this is how you actually use the distinct. So count. Okay, we want to use the function called count. What does it do? So if you need to count the number of unique record, you can use count. Anything that you pass in here, it counts it for you, and it gives you a figure. It returns a figure for you, and the count the unique ID, saying, okay, how do you want it to be counted? How do you want this thing to be counted? So look at it, and I want to break this into two for you. Select count distinct manager ID. So let's say, for instance, we are given a task to say, can you please give us the list of, can you please, how many managers do we have in this organization? You know, the request, sorry, the request can be, there's a lot of requests that can actually come from different, even can be auditor. I've seen auditor asking a lot of questions. Oh, how many managers do we have in this organization? Oh, how many executives do we have in this organization? Oh, how many this? So in order for you to be able to know how many managers do we have in the organization, now you say, okay, check the distinct. You use the distinct, which is the manager ID. It tells you this. The first thing that it's going to do, it's not going to count everything first. The first thing, it starts from the one in the back, inside the bracket. You see, this is where your mathematics come to play. You see, about mass. So you see, it's going to then say, okay, distinct. It does the calculation and say, hey, the distinct. Okay, I have how many? It distinct them. Say, okay, this. Okay, maybe it will say 1, 2, 3, 4. It will output it as this for you, or it will output it as this one, the one that maybe this one, the one we saw before. So it will output it. It will list them. Sorry, it will list them that say, okay, it is this ID, this ID, this ID, this. That's what is going to happen here in between this. You see this one. It's going to say ID. Maybe it's going to say 100 and 100 101 or 102 103. It's going to list them. So now the count, where it comes to play, is then it's going to count how many are they. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18. So that's how it becomes 18. That's how to count. That's how to use count. So your pass count, you can use dual, you can use you can use it to count how many records that we have, just like this one. How many records do we have in the um how many records do we have on the in the table? So you see that if you go down, go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. You see, now. If you say count star from this count star from this employee table, it's going to give you 107, meaning the total record that you have in this table is 107. So this is how to use count to do things. Can you say yes for me if you are following? Okay. Okay. So alias, link, like alias, link, nickname. Oh, some people can say you see Christians that go to Jerusalem, they call them JP, so it is alias, the way you use alias to maybe to verify, to verify to make it meaningful. You see, it says to make the heading output more meaningful and to improve readability, you see, of a query, or it can be used to give a column a different name. You understand? Let's say, for instance, you see maybe private IP and public IP. You see, it is the private one. What is actually pushed into the public? It is the one that, because it has been, they apply alias so that people do not know the name, the original name. People do not know the name, the IP, So these are the way that you can use to maybe to rename to for the readability, for to give a different name or to make it more readable, to beautify your output. So we do that. So if you look at it, it says, however, the last column, which is chain 2, if you look at it from the table, if you look at the table, yes, I did this, in order to compare, for you to be able to compare. It said the last name. This is how it is. It is in the database. It says last underscore name. Okay, that is how. So then I put alias. I said comma. This is the same, but I said in terms of the alias, I said as. So you use alias if you want a name, a column to be written in a different form. Then you can actually use as. And I know you probably have a question in your mind to say, is it necessary to use capital letter to use AS? No, it's not necessary. You can use a small letter AS. So it doesn't matter. But as long as you create the space and you put the name. So you can see now, I said the last name. We all know the last name is our surname. So in order to beautify it, when you are writing your report, some people, so you see now that I put it as a surname. You see, it displays it as a surname. So this is how to use alias. Okay. Alias with more than one column. Okay. Alias with more than one column. So you can alias, individual columns to say, you see now, employee ID. Employee ID, you can make it maybe employee number, or you can call it anything. You see, as, or you can, okay, and the last name as surname, or you can even, when you say concatenate, you say conc, last name or first name, then you can say as. You can put it as and put something to say maybe it is full name. You can call it full name. So these are the things. This is the way by which you can actually use your SQL to modify this. So again, it comes to okay, that is what I said about. So SQL as what's it called AS, which is alias with expression. So you can combine your expression and give it a different name. Give it a name. You see, so we can combine data from a multiple column, represented in a single column using concatenate, which is, so SQL select the first name and the last name, and the name of the column will be full name. Okay, so in the resource set, and if you do not do that, you see that you're just going to put, if you write concat and you just put this, so it's just going to display it in a way for you. It's just going to write concat at the subheading, not, the title of the column, not the usual nice name. So you can actually use it to verify your SQL, or to make it more readable, as indicated. So you can actually use this to say, you say it's concatenating, and if you look at it properly, it is two things. It is two arguments that you pass in the concat. Okay, two arguments. We will get to use pipe, and I'll tell you the beauty of pipe. I don't use concat. I don't use it. I love using pipe. I pass anything that I want to pass because it can take as many arguments as possible, but you just need to know how to use it. So we'll still talk about it. And this is the pipe that you see here. You see the pipe. I don't know. Maybe you can see my screen. My. It is, when if you look at it, the full name tree. Under the full name tree, you see I wrote first name. You see the pipe. I put quote, and I put pipe, and I put the last name. I said as 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 a full name tree. So concat will take two names, but with this pipe, you can actually concatenate it again. With you can actually put another pipe and put another thing and put another string. You can pipe it again, and you can actually use it to. I can use it to decorate things and to beautify things. So please adapt yourself to use this. Learn how to use it, and you can see they said concatenation. Operator to perform same tasks. Yes, you can actually use pipe to produce the same result. And you can see conc, the first one, and the next one as this. So this is the space, because if you use concatenation, the problem with concatenation, okay, yes, I remember now. The problem with concatenation, it doesn't give you space. Remember I said concatenation means, in a simple English, join with them together, with the two together. So with the pipe, you see now, then I wanted to use concat. You see, conc, if you see the first one, okay, if you see the first one, sorry, if you see the first full name, you see how I manipulated it in order to give me, in order to get to produce the space for me in between. I want you to pay attention to this. I used two conc. I said conc, and I put a space, the first one, the first name. Then again, I said conc, again, comma, the last name, and I quote them. So that I want a space. You see, you can see that there are ways there are ways to do things. You see the so much effort. With that so much effort of that first name, full name one, and full name three, it is the same. But you can see, but with full name three, I only use pipe, and it will create a space for me. So I don't even need to use conc. Use a pipe, and it will create a space for you. So please check this example, and please try and test, as try so many letters, string, try to use them in so many ways, and see the result. So then we move further. We go to max function. Max function says the maximum. Okay, you have in a column. Okay, let's say for instance you have in a column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inside the column. Then somebody now says, can you please give me the max number in this column? So you can see now, and we want to find out. Let's say for instance, there's a request from the organization to say, who's even earning the highest salary in this organization? Who has the highest salary? Then, I mean, what is the highest salary in this organization? Meaning, what is the highest salary in this organization? I mean, so with this, it's a maximum salary. Then it will tell you that this is the highest salary. It is 2,400. So in this whole table, I mean, this organization, the highest paid person earn 2,400. I mean, 2,400. I mean, 24,000. So we talk about the minimum. Who earns less? The least. Maybe the clerk. How much do they? Maybe sometimes, maybe for decision making, to say, let's know the minimum. Maybe we want to try to to say, remember when the government came up with the policy of minimum wages? So we want to know, how do we appropriate all this? Let's even check how much is the least person earning. So how do I appropriate this to meet up with the government policy? So These are the way that we get out the information from the database. So you need to know all this function. Please pay attention to that. We spoke about the count, so I'm not going to waste much time on the count. Like I said before, it is actually used to count the record, to count the record. You see, the record, just like the record you have, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the, let's say, for instance, on your spreadsheet, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going down. So it counts for you. You are saying, you remember I was telling you before, and if you remember, I took you straight to the SQL to say, see how many row. It will tell you this row return. So um, you see, it says 107 row selected. Okay. If you look at it from the slide, I said, can you please count how many records do we have in this table? And you see it's saying 107. So these are the way to use your count. Count is a function as well. So sum, you can actually use sum. It's a cumulative sum of numeric values in a column. Okay, sum all the salaries together for me. Let me know how much we are paying. Okay, I have a company and I want to know, to be able to budget appropriately, to know how much am I paying every month. Can you please calculate for me? Let me know the total salary I'm paying. So these are the way you pass the salary and you say sum, and it's to calculate it for you. Okay, that's the column. Remember, we have this column. This is the salary is a column in employee table. So sum this one for me, and it will put it for you. So we move to average. So average, like I said, all these things are mathematical. Okay, like average number, say you have 1, 2, 3 number, you have 1, 2, 3 number, you sum them together and you say average. Average, divided by what, so it gives you all this. So this is average. So you can be asked, there might be a task for you to say, can you maybe inside your report, a report that you have to display, that you need to use, you need to calculate the average, then you'll be able to say, okay, average consumption. Okay, sometimes you need to do that, in a month. I say, okay, how much am I consuming? My fuel for the car. Then you say, what about, okay, the average is this. So you need to, this is how you go about it. And then we'll go back to then we go to use group by. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this. Okay, I'm just looking at the time. Okay, so I want to just if can I are we on the same page before I jump into this? Can you please say yes for me? Dr. Okay, can you please help me?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
What do you say?
Thank you. So I'm just saying that I want people, if we're on the same page, can people say yes for me?
Yes, they are saying it already.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So we the use of the group by. You see, when we use count, we use sum, we use average, we use minimum and maximum. Okay, let's say for instance, okay, let's say for instance, we said, okay, can you please count? You see, you are given the instruction, it says select employee ID in the column. Okay, select, this is the query. You said, okay, I want to know, okay, in English, I want to know how many employees that are assigned to each manager. You see, you want to know how many employees that are reporting to a particular manager. You see, so these are the way to use them. To say, okay, how many employees are reporting to this person? Okay, so these are the managers. The first thing he does, the first thing he does is selects them for you. Then once he select them, so he put them to say, okay, this person is this manager. Then he group them by the manager. Now he group them. So grouping, meaning it has to be done by manager. So you can't, if you look at it, if you go through that table and if you say select maybe count employee ID, it is just going to count a lot of them for you. But when they group them, so it counts and say, okay, it selects employee and say employee 101, I'm not saying, okay, the employee 101, the manager is 01. Employee 102, the manager is 02. Employee 103, the manager is 127. Employee this. So the first thing, okay, let's say for instance, okay, I'm going to make a simple, what's it called for you, because I always like to plug in into a simple scenario that you will be able to remember when you are doing this. Okay, we all do engage in team works. That I mean team, team all these team things that we do in the organization. Sometimes you are in a department, you will be separated. Then you have a team lead. I say, okay, okay, maybe IT. Okay, this person will be a group. It is divided into 4 groups. So this person will be the head, a group A head, group B, group C, group D. So, okay, now imagine you want to know for each of the group how many employees are assigned to those groups. So you see, how do you group them? You first get them out. You separate them into groups, which is the managers. You separate them by the manager. You say, okay, your manager is here, come here, come to the left. Your manager is this, come to the right. You first group them. You see, you are grouping them by the manager. You see, now you see, I'm creating a scene so that you'll be able to understand the group by. So you say, okay, Baba today, what's it called? Your manager is this, come to the left. So John Bush, your manager is B, you come to the left. So you separate them first. So then you count. So now it's now counted. This is what it does. It said it separates, it says select the ID first, it group them by the manager. So you group them by this. And if you see, it doesn't make sense. If someone has to group by employee, it doesn't make any sense. Because so these are the way to use them. So you are grouping by the manager, by the, so if you write this code, let me tell you, if you write this code and we say select count employee ID, comma manager ID from employee, and if you do not put group by the manager, it will return a error message and say this is not a single group or something, error. So you will see, because it's telling you I don't know how to group them. You are only saying I should count. So I don't know how to group them. So grouping is this is the way to use grouping. And when you use minimum, maybe you can say under this manager, who earns so much amongst the employee? Under this manager, who earns less or the least? So you can, depending on the logic, depending on the request, depending on the task, so you can manipulate it. And this is why you need to know, play with the data. Play with the data. And again, I always tell people, let your English, and people will say science students, they don't understand English. You use English, proper English. Because your English has to be right. The organization is going to talk to you in English and say, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is then you, which is probably you are a developer, you are this, that you need to come up with the way to create your script in order to display exact request. So please pay attention to that. So we talk about case. Case is synonymous to if statement. You see that we can actually use if statement in our SQL. I know we also use it in our programming. When it comes to programming, maybe when it comes to you are developing a procedure, you are developing a triggers, you developing a package, developing what's it called, then you use what's it called, if this is this, if Baba today is a male, I mean if M is a, if you see M, then you can say it's a male. If you see F, you can say it's a female. Then if you do not say any of these two, you can return none. You can say S, you can say no. So these are the logic that you build. If you say it's a statement that you use to check a condition and perform a task in each of the rows when selecting the data. So, and I'm going to demonstrate how they use this. So it had, you see, it had a new column. Okay. Let's say, for instance, look at it. Remember, we can only select these two from this table, which is called employee. But again, we want to set a flag. Okay. We want to set a flag to say, let's check the speed and see who has gone beyond 240 or 140 or 130. Then we want to set a flag. So if you look at it, this is let's say flag. Okay, it is used to perform a task, and you can also use it to have that name. You can see I'm adding a name. See, add a new column name. This in your output set that is not part of your main table. Okay, but it's doing, and it's actually doing that for you based on the condition. Why? It's saying, okay, look at it. It says select employee ID. Case. Look at what it's saying. If salary is greater than or equals to 24,000, then flag it and say it is high scale. You see, if your salary, any salary that is from 24,000 upward, flag it to say, yes, this is high scale. Now, you see, end it. You see, it doesn't say S. That if salary, you see, case, I said, if salary, test every employee. If their salary, any employee that the salary is greater than or equals to 24, meaning it starts from 24 upward, he said, flag it to say it's high. Maybe in some cases, you want to say, okay, maybe they want to reduce salaries. Maybe they want to, they say, okay, just flag it high. So now you see the additional, if to create another additional column for you, as meaning as put the output, put them on the column called ranking, as ranking. And this is what he has done for me. Can you see ranking? You see now, those other one that is, you see they are null. If you see they are null, it's because they do not have, their salary is less than 24. So they are not part of the condition. So that is why they do. So, but if your salary is 24,000 and above, please flag it and use this. So you see the title is going to be ranking and as, so then it's going to flag. So we use this, in order to do. So please, I want you to use this. Learn how to use this. Because for you that want to be a developer, please learn how to use this, because it's very useful a lot. So now you use a case for a multiple conditions. You can use case for a multiple condition. That's when you see if, if let's say, okay, now you write, you say multiple condition, you say select for me employee ID and the first name. If the job, okay, if the job ID is IT programmer, you see on IT underscore prog. So he said, then you should flag it as, output it for me to say it's IT, it's under IT. So if again, you see, if the job is FI, which is maybe finance or something, account, then just say it is in finance. And you can say, okay, you can see now to say the title, the title where it should be kept is this, under this. So it sets it to be job type. You see now, this is how to use them. Because you can see we do not have the job type. Job type in that table. So, but we can actually use it. This is, sometimes I use the word verifying your SQL statement. So if, case with S. So if your job is, you see, just like what we explained, if your job ID is IT prog, you should say IT. If it is under FI account, we should say finance. Then what of people who do not belong to these two categories? What then will happen? Instead of saying make them none, because in the previous slide it is none, and that's why you don't see anything returned. So in this case, it's going to say, okay, it's fine. If none of this, if the employee do not belong to these two categories, then just put unknown, and this is what he has done, and you see detail. So this is very useful, a lot, and this is where your logic comes to play. If your if condition, you can actually use it very well with your case. So so are we on the same page on this? Can you please say yes for me?
Yes, I
Okay,
think that's
thank
better.
you. Thank you. And you, if you see,
Yes,
I said,
yes.
okay. If you see, I said unknown. Unknown is unknown domain name. If the job is neither IT nor what's it called, so it's going to put unknown. So it only fetches those one. You only flag those one that is actually in the condition. So thank you so much. So we have come to the end of the end of today's section, and I think if you have a question, so you can we can I think we can accommodate questions. So thank you so much. So
Thank you
Dr.
so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babatunde Awukoya.
Yeah,
We
thank
are
you.
very grateful. I think today's lecture is really how do I qualify it? At least for me, let me speak for myself, which I really enjoyed today's lecture, and I could see that there is a great difference, and I can follow. Some of us that did not join us in the previous lecture, you are likely to maybe miss the beginning because I think he didn't tell us how to use our username to log in, and we were taught in our previous class, and that was why some of us could easily log in and follow suit. And some of those were at least were correct. I used it. I don't know about others. So I just want to employ every one of us that are on this platform. It is not only for us to, okay, I think we have one or two questions. I will allow you, sir. Just hold on. Not to, for us to try these things as immediately as we are going through this lecture. It's important. Just take seconds out of and try those code so that if you have any issue, we can discuss it right now. So let me quickly allow, I think there's Mr. Oja is trying to, so you can mute yourself and tell us the question. Thank you.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Femi Ayola. Dr. Babatunde and the team, the entire team, I think this is very wonderful. And thank you for the insightful delivery. It was well done. Even for some of us who are privileged to be in industry, listen to you again is just like the way it occurs when you read Bible time to time with a newer inspiration. I think this is very beautiful. Thank you very, very much. I only want to just enjoin our people that that our brother, I mean, somebody like Dr. Batunde, Dr. Oker, whom we understand their accent, whom perhaps we have the same background, maybe went to the same university, or by virtue of coming from the same country, taking us, we should just take advantage of it. This is the kind of opportunity somebody like me never had when I was at home. And by demand of where I am today, right, I was forced to learn it. And of course, it becomes so much. It's something that one is happy doing. And please, let's take this opportunity very seriously. And let's leverage on the knowledge of these erudite professors in the midst. I wish all of us the very best, but I really enjoy you and I gain so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's
thank you, sir.
okay. Before you come in, that's an associate professor. Is actually one of our senior colleagues who is in US presently. Thank you so much. We are grateful for your insight. Even some of the work you have been doing with us at the background, we are grateful to have you even on board. Thank you so much. I don't know if Mr. Babatunde have one or two comments to make.
No, I just want to say thank you for that beautiful comment. So thank you so much, sir. God bless you,
welcome, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, Justine, I want to believe it's a woman, Mrs. or Dr. Mrs. Justine. You can take the floor.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, all. Like the first speaker, this has really been a very insightful lecture. Thank you very much, sir. I want to plead that, usually when we go read up, on this SQL and all the other things, particularly, let me leave it to SQL. The examples and we see to work with are basically like what you have shown. Create a code to count this and that. But I realized that one of the things that makes this very relatable for me is that you are able to relate it to your everyday work, to your everyday use. Is it possible for you to build 1, 2, 3 scenario-like questions? Like when you said you can be asked how many managers are in a place. That is not like how I see the usual questions in the text I have gone to read up before the class. I am new to this, so I don't know whether just by the side, maybe at the end of this course, you can consider doing that. Just throw us scenario questions where we have a data. It can be one of the data there and say, okay, you have been asked to get this, and it's for us to now know how we want to phrase this statement to get it. It's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for I'm actually planning to do that. I'm putting something together, which I'm going to share with Dr. Okay, so and Dr. Inka as well. So I'm actually going to paint a live scenario, and like you said, there's a lot of things in SQL that you have actually, if you go on the internet, I see some things that sometimes I shook my head. Yeah, how do you expect people to understand this? People do not plug in the life scenario, into things. People only read for reading's sake. They don't even know how this is interpreted. And even if you go through the internet, they don't even interpret it the way it will speak to you, communicate to you. So sometimes you're probably going to be reading and you can see when I was talking to you about the lower, I've seen it. I'm the lead in my office. I've seen it. I've seen people using it. Sometimes I'll start laughing. Even to the whites, they call them senior DBA. So senior DBA, I look at them and say, hey, are you a senior? So do you even know who it is? Then I said, can you please read English for me? They read and then can you interpret it? So we should be able to link all this SQL to a live scenario. They do work. And this is what I want to tell you. Anytime you are punching that script, please have that logic, develop that, the abstract mind to say, develop it in English. What am I trying to do? Please, it is actually very, very important. It is something that actually helped me a lot, and it makes me to be able to solve complex problem within, people can struggle for years. And when I look at complex problem, I take it, I solve it with, so it is actually very good when you know what you're doing. You don't just use a construct without you knowing what is actually doing. If I've actually gone through a book, if you do not understand, read like 7 books, combine them, check and compare what this one's saying. Is it making sense? Go through the data, try to, so I'm going to put them together, and thank you for that comment.
All right, thank you. So let us quickly allow Mr. Dr. Michael to take the floor briefly so that we can round up by. You're welcome, Mr. Michael.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Babatunde. I really appreciate you again tonight. At some point when you are helping us see how we could set query relating the employee, grouping them by the manager ID. Oh, sorry, baby. Okay? The question straight away is that how would I actually add to the query? Let's assume that there is a new manager who does not really know those manager by in the first place. How could I include their name alongside the employee who had been grouped by their manager ID, then including the names too? That's my question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that question. Okay. If you look at it, and we're still gonna get to that. I don't know. I think it's in the next session. If you look at it, there are the employee table. It is just like operational table. Okay. Like we have header and details. Okay. You have invoice. Okay. There are table that is capturing the invoice number. You only capture the invoice number to say invoice number 1. You just capture the information, So, but the detail, remember that invoice, it carries some product to say, oh, maybe a ball is $2. Maybe what's it called? Maybe Bob is this. Maybe it's what's it called? So, those will be part of the details. Okay, detail table. So now, if you look at it from that table, there is no name for that table. I mean, there's the manager. We don't have the name of the manager. Maybe the name of the manager is captured in another table, but we can actually align and join them together. So we're going to do that in the following class. I mean, in the next session, we're going to see joint. How do we combine those two information? I mean, the information from the two tables. How do we align them? How do we bring the relationship? And remember, we said something from the first session that this is why they call it relational database, because they are related information. How is table A linked to table B? Then we'll be able to get the full name, because now we are seeing the idea of a manager to be 01, 001 or 02, but we do not know the name of the manager, and we want the report to actually show, to say count the number of employee and display the name of the manager. Because now you can see that this one doesn't make sense. It's only showing the manager ID. But now in this case, I want to say manager Babatunde, 8 people are reporting to him. Manager Dr. Okay, 100 people are reporting to him. Dr. Baba, Yeka, maybe 2,000 people are responding. Maybe 2,000 people. So we will still get to that. We will use joint so that we to display it. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, you go
Okay,
ahead,
good
sir.
evening. Can I ask my question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think, please, can you go to your last slide, the last slide, where you talk about case? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So my question goes to, so when you use the case, you end it with else unknown, but the next line of code is the end at job type. So I want to ask from employee. So why do we have end as job type from employee? My second question goes thus like, okay, is there any site that we can get some, let's say, data that are in this database format. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. The first question, yeah, that you're referring to this job type. Okay. Like I said, we can actually use. I said this is the way to create additional. You can use this to create additional column for the case of the output. You see, it is not stored in the database on that table. If we look at it, there's no job type on that table. But we have a condition, and the condition is they're giving us a condition in the office to say, check for me. We want to categorize people who are earning higher salary, who are earning, the least salary from the organization. But how do we do that? We can only see figure. We can only see figure to say, okay, maybe the figure is 2,000, is 1 million, 2 million, So we do not know who's earning, So you can say, okay, so this is the way, like it's like a dummy column. You see, like a dummy column for you. You can call this any name. I call this as job type, and you can try this. You can try this on your own. You can call this one. You can even give your name and say, hey, maybe it's John, and end as John, and it's going to put John as you are just instructing it to say, you see this condition. When you process it, can you please put it under this column? I don't know. Please, this is why I'm saying your English has to be aligned. And this is, so now you say this condition, when you filter this data, when you validate this record with this condition, can you please, okay, you can validate this record. So where is he going to put it? He doesn't know where to put it. So you are instructing to say, capture it in this column, put the heading as this, and put it here. I think I'm making sense now.
Yes. Actually, yes.
Yes. So this is how to use this. And you can see it doesn't exist anywhere. You see it doesn't exist anywhere. You can even call it end it as Nigeria. You can say end it as this. So you are just saying that's the name of the column that you want to use. The second question that you said, so remember we've created a schema, and that is the schema that I'm using. It is called HR. So this data is actually in there. So if maybe you need to go through the second slide, the second section, you will see how we unlock and reset the password for the HR. So the data is actually HR. I'm using this HR as a schema, and I'm employing everyone to use the same so that you can actually see.
How can we get other data sets in form of database?
You can use contd as well. There are dummy schema. There are dummy schema created on the database. Dummy schema. Okay. And again, there's other ones that I will show at the end of this, not today, at the end of this lecture, that we have so many of them. And I will show you how to create it, how to use them. So, but for now, I will employ you so that, for you to be able to plug into what we're saying, please use this. And if you want to use Scott and Tiger, they have Scott Tiger as well. Scott as a database, as a schema, does have some tables underneath as well. So you can actually use them, in any form or shape. So, so I will employ everyone to try this, because we still have up to how many tables in, in HR. Then if you are using database, if you are a database administrator or you are a developer, you can plug in all this scenario into the data into the data that you have in your office, in your organization. Try it as many as you can. Look out for the report. Look at look at all the information that they capture in the report, and try so many times. Try so many things. Try so many scenarios. So that is it. Work with HR. Work with the data for now. I will show you all the other additional schema that actually come directly with Oracle database installation, which is for 11G.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Babatunde. We are grateful for your insightful delivery of the lecture. because we are trying to round up according to our agreement that we should end the class by 9. But before we go, I want to quickly remind us again that this lecture is going to end in the next 2 weeks. We're going to start Python on Saturday. Okay, but lecture on Sunday still remain R. So for those of us that were still interested in joining tomorrow's lecture is going to start by 7 o'clock too, and it is R lecture. So let us also get ourselves prepared. The world is tending towards the use of data. Somebody was showing me in the office today that robot has actually taken over the function of customer service, and a lot of people are going to run out of job. I said no, they're going to create more job for those that have logged into data management, and they require people like us, okay, that will develop this skill to take over some of this responsibility, to develop machine to do some of this work. So let us get ourselves ready for the future, and let's get that desire. Let us be driven by this future. I don't know why you are here, but I know that majority of us were here because of this knowledge. Let's make use of them. And I know that at the end of this training, it's an 8 weeks training. The first stage is going to end in 2 weeks time with SQL, and Python is going to start from the scratch. And I believe that we will also enjoy that. So let's get ourselves ready for tomorrow's lecture. God bless you. So if there's no any contribution or addition, so let's thank our facilitator for today for the delivery of SQL lecture. Thank you, Mr. Baba.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're grateful.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you
Thank
next
you
week, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Again, let me also acknowledge again as associate professor in our midst who has been supporting us. We are grateful, sir, for your comments and your encouragement that you'll be giving to us at the background. We hope to see you more, and even on this platform to share part of your knowledge with us. I know we'll try to do that so that some of us moving into that area will share from your own experience as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.